I was considering the different levels of things, how they work. Like, I was noticing that people tend to work in across the board. They tend to work in a way that is like at a level of doing. So even their spirituality is based in doing, and their relationship with doing, or like if they do certain things, then they feel okay about themselves. If they don't, then they don't feel okay about themselves, or they have certain qualifications that they've made for feeling good about themselves. And even in like careers or anything else. I mean, we do that all across the board. We're all doing. If you notice, even like motivational or spiritual people or anything like that, they're trying to perform or reach a goal, or they have something in mind that they want to achieve, and then that's how they're doing. And that's their life is all around that. That's their focus. That's their idea. Even positive thinking, how they channel themselves. I watched a really, really good recording, a video of a guy who was talking about his childhood, how it was rough, and how basically he told himself negative things about himself, and because he basically programmed himself to be less than what he could be, right? And then he talks about his transition and how he became successful, and he told himself a different story, and he created this totally different life, and with success, right? And he just did so well. And then in the end of that, it was interesting to me that yes, he did some really neat things, but there's another layer. There's another layer of things going on here. It's so amazing to me that I wonder, and I want to find out, and I'd love any feedback that I ever heard on this. Because, in the end, we're really basically in our own heads. We really have our own life experience, but I am open to hearing other people's experience. But I've had that in my life. I was raised with parents that were successful, and a mom who believed, we could do anything, and basically we did accomplish great things. I did really well and reached my financial goals. By the time I was 40 years old, I'd reached my major financial goal of becoming a millionaire. So things happened after that changed that with the crash and everything, but none of that was the level that needed to live. I mean, there was a whole part of me, well, not even a part, it's like the basis, the foundation of it, that wasn't even in existence. It wasn't even, it was existing, but I wouldn't even have known it. I mean, who would know that was underneath the surface of everything? That I really was. I really was so much more than that. Yes, I've had hints all my life, but I didn't know how to put it together. Right? I didn't know what that was. I didn't know why I felt the way I did. And I think it's almost like this is the great putting together the clues of our existence, of who we are, say, or the basis of existence, of any kind of existence. Some people may be existence oriented, and some people may be performance oriented. So anyway, I was noticing that guy, he reminded me a little bit of myself in my days of accomplishment and trying to have things in order to feel accomplished. I wasn't completely shallow. I was a decent being, I guess, but I loved working and I still do. But it was interesting. I don't think we really think about the real basis of all things. That's one of the things I love about seeing life in expansion, is because it takes everything out of the context of performance. You still like to perform. It's fun. But what's interesting is that for the first time in my life, it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't. The success or the failure of it would be disappointing. It would be frustrating. It'd be disheartening, whatever. But it wouldn't be ripping at what I felt was the core of my being. It wouldn't be tearing me from the inside deeply to fail at something that I had strived for, with great emphasis and great effort for however long it was. Say I was to fail at anything, it doesn't get that deep anymore. I think maybe I may not be alone. A lot of us kind of tend to realize that as we get further along in our relationships and older and so on, and we've been married for however many years, and we start to realize, once you get a couple decades into the marriage and you start to look back and you kind of get the report card a little bit about how you were doing, and start to find out maybe you weren't doing so good. Maybe some things you thought you were doing better at, you find out, wow, you really, like all these years, it was never like I wanted it to be, right? And you get that kind of news. And there was a time in my life where that would have been so devastating. And this time I learned some more stuff, and it's good stuff for growth, to learn these things. And being an expanded state, it gives food for growth. It gives feedback for growth. But when I found out some things, really big things that I thought were really important, and once I learned about it, it was very disappointing. It was very hard, but it wasn't deep, shattering, because the perspective was immense. I feel totally integrated and totally in touch with all these things, including the sweet being that I had disappointed, or including all of these, all the things that are around me. And so there's this, I don't know if it's not really the right word, but if you can kind of go with it a little bit, it's almost like a little love affair with everything around. It's almost like you feel like your kinship / love affair, if that's even possible, just this really, real endearing feeling with everything here and for eons of distances into the forever, into space, into everything, just feeling that much connection, that much kinship, love, and connection. And I actually think, you ever met somebody who feels really grounded and they just feel really at peace? And when you're with them, you almost feel like you're right at home and you can trust them. You just feel really a strong trust with that person. And it's just it's so cool, because I think maybe even unconsciously some people are connected. They feel it, but they may not be actually aware that that's what they're feeling. They just kind of live their life quietly and nicely and touch the lives of people as they go. But then I think there's a lot of people that, like I was saying earlier, that are very performance oriented, that are kind of missing that connection. They're working at a level, and to mention it, I've tried with at least one person, a very wonderful person. And I've watched other people that I'm close to, that I've seen over the years. And there's not that. Doesn't appear to be that really deep connection with all things. So much is performance oriented, so much is on a level of cognizant understanding of something that, and I'm hoping I'm using the right words here, but understanding of what is going on around them, like the dynamics of society, the dynamics of relationships, all these things that have been formed over time in cultural situations, dynamics of families and everything, all these things have been established and formed over all this time. And so I think these people are primarily functioning on that level. And I think religions, in a large way, are based on those kind of dynamics and even the patriarchal dynamics or the leadership dynamics or and again, I'm not a studied sociologist, so some of these things I'm probably not referring to correctly, but just amazing. I just think it's just so powerful to live, from my experience, to live from something deeper, to live from that real depth of understanding and connection. I think it takes care of a lot of problems, drama, a lot of what we have going on around us, kind of takes us right out of that and puts us in the real observer mode of the dynamics, yet interestingly participatory in life itself without an overemphasis in the effects of life, in the effects of failures, in the effects of ungrounded suffering. It's substantial, the suffering. It's founded suffering because it's founded on something that's a performance-oriented item. But it's not real. It's real in what they're experiencing, but it's not based on something that is actual. It's based on something that's been created over time. And to be really connected with all things in an expanded state where we are connected, integrated, yet not in a defined form, as we are across all these levels, all these layers, and just no definition of where we are, but integrated completely in all these things. As we get to that place, we experience life in a completely different way. And it's just super wonderful. And so I wanted to share that. Great experience to have that, life in this way.